Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Ooh. I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday. I hope you had a good weekend. I'm attempting the portable light in this corner again, so we'll see how long it lasts. I wasn't sure if maybe I didn't charge it enough last time and that's why it died after the first hour, or it may only be something that holds its charge for an hour. So we're experimenting today. I wanted to fully test to make sure I did my due diligence before I ask for one that lasts longer. I want to make sure this one actually lasts only an hour before I decide to be like, I would like one that lasts for at least the length of stream. At least like 3 hours, 4 hours if I'm like super lucky. Either the timer missed. Oh. There could be a bit of a delay. Sometimes, I know, to be fair, it could be the rare occasion that I am starting like 2 seconds early. Hello. How are you? Is it cold as balls where you are, Saul? It is rainy, miserable, windy shenanigans outside right now. Thankfully, it held off in the morning, so Shadow and I were able to go for a walk and not get rained on. But it sounds and looks pretty miserable out there right now. So just forgive me, I'm warming my hands up before we start stitching, because they're cold. I'm the kind of person who always likes having long sleeves so I can shove my hands into things. But that obviously, I need my hands to cross stitch, so I can't just, shove my hands in and do nothing. Okay. We are sufficiently, we got my blankie, we got the tea, we're drinking pumpkin spice tea. Oh, I got my snacks. Emergency stream snacks. I got 2 sweaters on. Really drew outside and I'm feeling okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, does the damp like affect your limbs and things? Yeah, from our forest adventures, which he quite enjoys. Those were taken a couple days ago. But yes, he quite enjoys. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know who enjoys hanging out in the forest more, me or him. We both are big fans of the, of forest dwelling. Let me try to maximize. Oh. Well, that's nice. That's good that maybe it's, like, not... To be fair, it still could be, like, arthritic pain, but usually that's associated with arthritic pain, so... Fingers and toes crossed that whatever ails you is actually not arthritic. Okay, let's see. As you can see, we've, it still doesn't look like much, but trust me, it is significant. Let me pull up the pattern so you can see all of that area that's blacked out there. That's what we've done. So I'm pretty stoked with that. I think if our goal is to sort of go in this general direction, maybe we can get to this edge and then you can't cross your fingers and toes, so oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, so so that's nothing new then. So that bridge has already been crossed. That exploratory bridge. That's fair. That's good, I think. Alright. Oh, let's see again. Okay. Hey. There's just no pleasing you today, Saul. Maybe there's just no bridges where you live and you just feel like you're missing out. You got FOMO. You have bridge FOMO. Is that what it is? Yeah, I'm doing okay. Weekend was good. Weekend was chill. I'm trying to even think what happened. Oh yeah. I was on Shadow Comfort Squad for fireworks night. So Liam went over to my in-laws and they did their fireworks night over there. And Shadow and I hunkered down with a combination of peaceful piano music on the stereo and the best of Game Grumps compilations on the TV at a significant volume to sort of drown out the firework noises. It worked relatively well. We've worked out that, like, when Shadow is scared, he doesn't really, like... Because, like, he feels the most comfortable on the sofa. But when he's scared, it's almost like he can't jump, which is really weird. So it was a lot of me picking him up and literally, like, placing him on my lap. And, like, laying him down on my lap. And then he would stay there for a little bit. And then he would kind of get uncomfortable or too hot and he'd get up and move. But then everywhere else, he could then hear things that spooked him. So then I would wait for a bit and then scoop him back up again and stick him back on me and cover him with a blanket. So luckily, at least he knew that, like, sitting on me and being with me was safe. Because he didn't try to, like, get up very often. He spent most of the time just with me, which was good. And then there was a little bit more of that on the Sunday. Luckily, it wasn't as long as it was on the Saturday, so that was nice. So it was only for a little bit. The only problem, or not problem, because now I think Shadow is a bit, like, a bit tentative, like a bit concerned around, like, 7 o'clock time, which is annoying because that's his food time. Because we normally feed him around that time, but obviously we wanted him to not be too scared to eat, so we were feeding him a few hours earlier before the sun went down, so that way we knew he would eat. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we had some leading up, and then yeah, the big day, and then thankfully, it wasn't too bad on the Sunday. But yeah, so basically, he's not been, like, he didn't eat his dinner last night, I think because he was worried that the fireworks were going to go off again, but they didn't. But also, too, he's gotten into this habit because he's, like, too scared to go outside. It's not until, like, at midnight or, like, 2 in the morning that he then whines to wake one of us up because he really needs to pee. Because we even tried to get him to go outside before bed and he was having none of it. And we're like, you better not wake us up, sir. And sure enough, he was like, I did not get the message. I need to go outside and pee. Please come help. So that's what he's doing now. So hopefully, once he realizes that, like, the fireworks are okay, like, they're not coming back for the foreseeable future, we can get him back into a routine where he's actually, like, going to pee before bed. But yeah. And then Monday, I'm trying to think what happened on Monday. Just chilled, worked more on this. I wasn't feeling 100%, so I laid down at one point. But yeah, just ticking along. I watched Kiki's Delivery Service yesterday. So I think I have 4 Ghibli films left, which is very exciting. I think tomorrow I'm going to be watching My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping to do tomorrow. The band fireworks moving good. Yeah, well, I've also seen too that, like, there's also fireworks that are apparently meant to be quieter and they're meant to be a bit nicer towards animals and things. I've not seen them in action, so I don't know how much traction those are getting, but definitely It's no problem, Aurora. You can stop by any time. Just you coming to hang out is all that matters. Yeah, I'm excited. It's starting to sort of look like something now, isn't it? It's not just like a blob of stitches. You don't think my neighbor would appreciate my neighbor Totoro? Or you don't think he would appreciate dog-friendly fireworks? I will say it was really nice that fireworks weren't kind of going off either side of us. So we had like both sort of our neighbors either side of us and even like either side of them. You're watching her. No. To be fair though, we share a wall with him. And so sometimes I can hear what he's watching on TV. I'm pretty sure he was watching Coronation Street last night because I could hear the little jingle. Like, do, 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 do. Whatever it is. Do, do. That's definitely not what the jingle sounds like, but yeah, I could hear him watching that. And then sometimes I hear him sneeze really loud or get into a coughing fit. And I'm like, oh man, I hope he's okay. He's an old man, so I think he's in his like late 70s, early 80s. He's a very nice man. Yeah, I think it kind of does. That's, yeah. If you know the jingle, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know the jingle, well, either way, I probably butchered it. But yeah, I think he was watching Corey last night. But yeah, we can, every once in a while, we do hear him. But I'm sure he hears, like, us as well. Especially when Shadow gets a little shouty. But yeah, so fingers and toes crossed. Maybe. Welsh. Yeah, could you imagine? Though it sounds pretty intense, so I guess maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe Welsh Countdown is just that intense. I was a bit out of sorts yesterday, because like I said, I have been watching like the Studio Ghibli stuff, and I don't know if it's just because like I get into like these moods or I get into these like little obsessions where I'm like only interested in consuming a very specific type of media. To be fair, no, that's exactly what's happening. Or like I have very specific things I want to watch. And so right now we don't have cable, but we watch a lot of YouTube. But right now YouTube has been dropping the ball for me. Usually there's like a little bit of content, but I think because most of the YouTubers that I watch, their content comes out like weekly, bi-weekly, whatever. So by the time I've watched their stuff, it's like there's really nothing else on. Or what happens is there's like something that I'm interested in. So for instance, I played a bit of Don't Starve again yesterday. Oh my god, did you really? That's amazing, Aurora. I love that. We're Ghibli. It's like we're in a movie club without actually being in a movie club. I love it. But yeah, so like I played a bit of Don't Starve yesterday, adventure mode, and so I was like, oh, I'll look up these things, and then, like, you know when you're interested in something, but it's like it needs to be presented in a very specific way? I think right now, I'm basically on a kick where I basically just want to watch cute aesthetic things overlaid with like nice chill music and subtitles. I don't want to have some like person like droning on or explaining things or doing whatever. So that's sort of like where I'm at in terms of stuff. And then when I go to look for things, I'm disappointed and then there's nothing to watch and then I get grumpy. And even things that I think I would like, I'm like, I know I would probably like this if I put it on. And I'm like, I'm just not in the headspace for it. I only want to listen or watch or consume this very niche specific thing at this moment. Tell me you're neurodivergent without telling me you're neurodivergent. Yeah. Tell me you're neurodivergent without telling me you're neurodivergent. So So I was a bit frustrated with myself, where I'm like, why? It would be nice to not have such niche specific interests sometimes. Like, especially too, like I recently finished The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and I was obsessed with it. I loved it. And then of course you go and you're like, oh, these are like other books in that similar genre, or here's like other Neil Gaiman books that I think you would like, and then you go through them, and I'm like, theoretically, when you like an author's work, you would technically like most of their other works. But I'm like, this is more of like his YA, like kind of spooky children's sides of things. So the only other Neil Gaiman book I'm interested in like reading right now is Coraline, and Audible doesn't have an English version of it available in my country. In the UK, they don't have a licensing agreement, which I think is ridiculous. They have a Spanish version. I could learn Spanish and then consume the Spanish Audible version of Coraline. But unfortunately, they don't have an English one. And then all the other options, like I know that like Good Omens would be great, or like, what's the other one? I don't know, like just other, like I'm sure probably, but I'm also like, I don't know. But yeah. So that was the other issue I was having the last time I had this issue with Audible, where they're like, oh, you enjoyed this historical fiction book? Here's a swath of historical fiction that you might like. And I'm like, no, I like the niche, tiny part of the historical fiction. How minute and niche can I get with my searches? And it's like not very on those platforms. Yeah, I've heard Good Omens is very good. What's the other one? Oh, American Gods. That's the other one. I remember I started watching the Amazon Prime show. I watched the first season or the first 2 seasons? But now I know that it gets canceled, so I don't know if I want to revisit it. Would I need to raise Goosebumps? Maybe. That's the sort of like macabre children's level. See, watch. First I was freezing, and now I'm gonna be roasty toasty. Let me just sort this out. Yeah, possibly. But again, too, like it has to be like, I don't know. Like cute ghost Goosebumps. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I was thinking about how I have 2 sort of like Halloween autumn-esque jumpers, but I'm like, Howl's Moving Castle revolves around witches and things. So I feel like, you know, a little bit spooky is very like appropriate. You know what I mean? So this one has bats on it, and then I have another one that has like cauldrons and cats and things on it. So. Yeah, I guess it's just like the color scheme. A dirty job. Oh, I'm gonna write that down. That sounds really interesting. Hello, cat. That sounds in the vein that I'm searching for. Possibly. What is it called? A dirty job. But yeah, because that's if it's in the vein of the Graveyard Book. Like I listened, like I finished listening to it yesterday, and I was like sad to leave all the characters behind. I might just end up re-listening to the same book, just because I loved it so much, and I just thought like I like enjoyed the characters, and I just, you know, wanted to exist in that, you know, when you finish something and you love it so much and you just want to continue to like exist in the world that has been created for you. That is what I'm interested in doing, but I do have the original a audiobook version of Howl's Moving Castle as well that I do want to listen to. But again, that's like, I'm currently watching the movies. And then, I don't know, my like audiobook book things are like slightly different to that. So, yeah. Yeah, you read the same books over and over again. I've never really done that, and maybe I should. Yeah, I didn't, because of the other audiobooks I've listened to, I've, like, deleted them off my phone and archived them, but I've strategically kept this book kind of queued up, because I'm like, I think I'm probably just gonna re-listen to it. I didn't have enough time to watch a Ghibli film today before stream, and so usually I like to, like, watch something while I'm eating lunch. So I was combing through. I tried to watch Bee and Puppy Cat, which I wasn't sure about. I think it was a bit too out there for me. It's weird because, like, it's like that sort of like Cartoon Network-esque. Like, I think it's in the same vein as like Adventure Time and Steven Universe, but I love Steven Universe so much. And this one just wasn't, yeah, like it wasn't hitting me the same way. I watched the first episode and I was like, I don't know. And then, oh, it originally started as a YouTube thing. That's interesting. I know that Aaron Hansen, one of the Game Grumps, does one of the voices in it, so I kind of watched it because I wanted to see if I could hear his voice, but maybe he does like a side character later on in the series, and I don't know if I want to invest time into finding that out. So, I was a bit stuck, and then I remembered something that I've been wanting to watch for a long time, and I've just been putting it off. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm so nichely invested in something, and then also I'm like, oh, but also maybe this. So I started watching the Netflix series Snowpiercer, based off of the movie that started, like, starring Chris Evans, and I'm super late for the game. Like, this show has been out for a while now. And I keep thinking I'm going to sit down and watch it, and then I just never did. So finally I was like, I'm actually going to do it. And so I watched the first 2 episodes. And so far I do like it. It's interesting. But I wonder if this will happen, because I started watching The Handmaid's Tale, like, a long time ago. And I enjoyed it, and I was, like, on a roll with it. And then I sort of fell off it, and just haven't bothered to get back on. Yeah, so hopefully, I don't know, maybe that'll happen with this one, maybe it won't. But we'll see. Like, movie. Yeah, I've never seen the movie, but Liam likes the movie, so I feel like that's one I should watch. Here's just Charlie and the Chocolate Factory People. Honestly, it's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory People, and it's also very, like, in the same vein as the Capitol in the Hunger Games, at least, like, in this sort of universe. It's almost like they're overly, like, they're like the 1% of the 1%, like the way that they're stylized. Like, the one has like a pet iguana and is like a super exotic, like, whatever sort of, I don't know if it's an iguana, but it's like a big lizard, and that's his pet that he holds, like a little chihuahua or something. And I'm like, this is a little OTT, but I think that's the point. They're supposed to be so, like, far removed from the tail of the tail of the train. But yeah, so that is the current media consumption that has been occurring. I do need to take I need to take some time to actually sit and read my physical book as well, because I read a couple of the little vignettes when I was getting my tattoo done, and I haven't picked it up since. Because a lot of times I consume media when I'm doing other things. So, like, I'll listen to an audiobook, or I'll watch a movie, or I'll do whatever, like, while I'm painting my nails, or while I'm, you know, cross-stitching, or while I'm doing something else. Okay, see, that was the thing. I was gonna start the Cabinet of Curiosities today, and I looked at it, and I was like, this might be more horror than it is sort of like just like spooky macabre. You know what I mean? Because I'm not really like, yeah, I don't really like, I would want more sort of, it is horror. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, because I've done, not all of them, but I watched a few of the American Horror Stories, and it's one of those where I'm like, I don't actually know if I liked it. I watched quite a few of them because it was more about the aesthetics. Like, Coven had such a distinct aesthetic that I wanted to watch it for that and not necessarily for all of the horror aspects of it. But obviously that sort of defeats the purpose because there's tons of horror aspects to American Horror Story. So, yeah, because I know my in-laws were watching it and they said it was really good. So that's interesting that you felt the same way that, like, I was preemptively feeling. So I feel like that's a good barometer for me to be like, maybe not. Yeah. Yeah. Because was the alien one... Well, because I know that there's... I know Asylum ended up being a bit more supernatural than I wanted it to be. Because, again, you know, neurotypical niche interest individual, I've always had a fascination with, like, Victorian Asylum. So the fact that the second season was, like, Asylum-based, I was really excited about that. And then it all of a sudden took this, like, weird alien turn. And I was like, this is not what I meant. So, yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, no, I think the one I stopped at, it was right before Hotel. So whatever the one, I think I might have stopped at Coven. I might have stopped at Coven. Or no, I did Circus. I stopped at Circus. That's what it was. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you forget, right? You're like, it wasn't how I thought it was gonna go. But yeah, so I've been I've been struggling a little bit in terms of media recommendations outside of my current Studio Ghibli obsession. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think that's sort of, those two are sort of touted as the better ones. And then they brought, I don't know if later on they then brought back characters from Coven into one of the later seasons. I think it was like American Horror Story Apocalypse or something like that. But by that point, I'm like, I'm too far gone to invest in watching all the things to get to that point. Yeah. I think what else? The thing that I'm most excited for, and I think it actually comes out this month, so maybe, you know, I'll be done my Ghibli obsession and then I can transition into this, which is the Addams Family, Wednesday Addams Netflix adaptation. That I'm super, super excited for. So hopefully, I think it comes out on like the 23rd or something like that. It comes out towards the end of the month. So I'm hoping that that's good. You knew you were gonna say that. Excellent. I feel like we have very similar tastes, Kat. I'm sensing a kindred spirit here, and I really appreciate it. feel like it's coming out, well, it seems like it's sort of coming out around like American Thanksgiving time, which kind of makes sense because like those will be like bank holidays and things probably for people to consume them at. Neurospicy. I like that. I like that. I'm gonna neurospicy. I appreciate that. little spicy spice. Mark off where we've been and where we're going. Ooh. So I have some other potential stream ideas. Well, not stream ideas, but I was thinking of like a channel point redeem thing. Need to get back to projects. Oh no. Oh, which project is it? Like, what kind of a pattern is it? Hey man, trust me, the whip pile is there, and it's not massive, but it's enough for it to feel a bit daunting to me. So I feel you. And then, you know, I had the audacity to start this new project with all my neglected projects just chilling in a corner, like, excuse me. And I'm like, you're not on theme, I'm sorry. But yeah, I had a thought the other day. I know, scary, right? That maybe a possible channel point redeem might be that, I have like a couple, sorry, let me restart. I have a bunch of like tarot and oracle card decks that have just been sitting on my shelf for a long time and I don't use them. And so one of the things I was thinking about as a way to get myself back into using these things, I then create a channel point redeem where you redeem me pulling you an oracle card. So that would be like, I would shuffle the deck, thinking about you, if you have, you know, an intention or something that you want a bit more like focus on, or a bit more, even just like a card of the day, like what's something that you want to go into the day or go into the evening thinking about. It wouldn't be like super deep. And then, yeah, we could shuffle the deck, pull a card, and then, yeah, that could be an option for a channel point redeem, because then it gives me the opportunity to practice or to, yeah, get used to using those again. And it gives you guys something interesting to spend your channel points on. So I don't even know. I have like, what do I even have? I have like your generic sort of stream ones, and then I have some, yeah, like just generic stream ones, and then some like song alerts. But I feel like that might be a way to make things a bit more interactive for everyone, if they're interested. It's like 18 pages, it's the wave painting. Oh, wow. That sounds like it's going to be beautiful, but it does sound like a massive undertaking. So I can see why you've, you stooshed it for a minute. Oh, thank you so much. Oh my god, thank you so much for reminding me, Saul. Yeah, I did a little logo update to like better reflect more sort of channel, more what the vibe of the channel is. I still had a couple, like, the logo was sort of one of the last things that was hanging on from like my initial overlay stream setup from when I like first started out, before I kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I was like, I'll do everything, and then I'd like, yeah. So I've done a little that was actually, to be fair, now that you mention it, that was what I spent my weekend doing. Was whipping that up. Thank you, Canva, for being a real one. So yeah, thank you for saying that and reminding me to mention that. Yeah, it's huge. It's something I might pack up. Yeah, when you're retired, absolutely. Yeah, that, to be fair, my mom did the same thing. She had all these unfinished like craft projects, and then when she retired, she decided she was gonna like finish her like stash of all of her, you know, finish her piles. And to be fair, she's done pretty good. She's like almost done. She's like mostly a quilter, so she had a lot of like big quilting projects that were half finished, and so she's been really working to do that. I think next on the like thematic adjustment, actually I probably need to like move some things around, but I want to work on this back wall and putting more things. To be fair though, I feel like you can't even really see anything on here. I might need to I have this one really big tea print, and it has a bunch of like canisters of different tea blends. It's like a big print. I don't know how else to describe it. Art print that's in my kitchen right now, but I think that would actually work really well here, and it might be easier to see, because right now you guys can't even really see what's on that wall. Not that it like super matters, but it matters to me. Tell my husband I'm going part-time when he has a full-time big... Oh, that's amazing. He has 2 more years left. What is he working towards, if you don't mind me asking? That'll be nice. Like I say that, you know, if you go down to part-time, you'll have so much more time for crafting activities, but that might end up being replaced by like other things. I don't know. I like to think that your part-time would result in more time for crafting. That's what I'm gonna hold out hope for you. Computer programming. Oh, no way. That's really cool. I'm working at 4. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. It's good though, because you know that the future seems to be in tech, so if you can get in that way, it will be beneficial. Yeah, for that. Oh, that's really good. Oh, that's cool too, because then he's also like upskilling in an environment that he can then see sort of like forward progression. So that's really cool. Like I don't know if Ford has told him he's kind of guaranteed a programming position, but it sounds like, especially if he's in really good rapport with his company and things like that, that it sounds like he'll have a really good chance for that sort of promotion. So that's really cool. Yeah, we have to look into getting. Oh, that's amazing. That's so good to hear. It's always good when companies like invest and value their employees, because it just seems like that's so few and far between lately. So it's always amazing to hear when people are actually treated with like, you know, decency at their place of employment. sad when that doesn't seem to be the case, but like, you know, when you feel valued in a place and you don't just like feel like a number, that can like really do wonders for yourself. Unless you want to. Some people, they feel better just being like a little number where they can clock in, do their thing, go home, not worry about it. So I see the merits to both. Because I think I would feel very dehumanized if I felt like just a number, but in the same vein, then that means like there's no like big grand expectations of me. I can just go in, do my job, and leave. So it could, yeah, I see benefits to both of them, but I think from a humanity standpoint, it's nice when you feel valued. Everyone wants to feel valued, you know what I mean? Birds that you about recently. Up to 9 months, wow. Yes, that's amazing. That's really good. You're salty about it. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Do you have to vote after work then? I guess polls, like, they stay open later for people if they do have to work during poll time. But yeah, I have like 3 hours. Yeah. Because I know they can't turn you away. So if you're like in the line and they want to like close the polling, you have to be like, no, it's my legal right to be here. So I think they have to wait for anyone. Obviously, if they've closed and you're like super late, like that's kind of on you. But if there's a queue, they can't like turn you away. From what my understanding is, maybe they can. I don't know. Yeah, the UK's not had a general election in a hot minute. They keep just throwing people in there and hoping for the best. The last election we had was a mayoral election for London, and London's mayor got reelected. But yeah, in terms of like federal government stuff, that's not happened in a while. Oh, yes. Also exciting things. I painted my nails yesterday. That's what I got up to yesterday. And I always just feel like my life feels just a little bit more put together when I have my nails did. So. It's hollow taco with a matte top coat and some gold little sparklies on them. Because on the hollow taco website, they have a gold flaky topper and they put it over top of this and they mattify it and it looks so freaking cute. Like it looks almost like a speckled robin's egg, but I don't have the gold flaky, I just have silver flaky. So I have this just gold like Primark polish that I'm like, this will do, but it's not. It's still amazing, but it's not 100%. You know what I mean? Hey Connie, good afternoon. How are you? You love hollow tacos? Just get out of my head, cat. Stop being the same person as me. Right? It's so good. I was doing inventory on all the hollow taco I owned. Oh no, yeah, I didn't have a question. I was just saying that I don't think it was from my understanding that they can't turn you away. You know what I mean? Like if you're in the queue, and like the polls close, I assume they have to clear out the line of people and let them all vote. That was just my understanding, but it might not be. No, I was just ranting about how the UK has not had a general election in a hot minute, even though we probably should. They can't turn you away. Yeah. It's illegal to pass out drinks and food in the line. Interesting. Oh, good. Oh, honestly, don't even worry, Connie. Trust me, that... Somebody posted a video in their Twitter feed, or in their story feed, and I couldn't watch it. It was literally just a slideshow of pictures of Aaron Carter, and I had to wipe away, because I think I would actually get choked up if I watched it. Trust me, he was like my first celebrity crush, so to hear that he passed away was quite... It, like, I don't even know if I would say it was a shock. It just made me really sad. Because I know he's, like, been through it. You know what I mean? And, like, that was, like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yours was Nick, eh? I had a little bit of both. But, yeah, in terms of, like, it sounds really silly, but in terms of the, like, when you have crushes on crushes on celebrities, you have ones that are, like, a bit older than you. But then you also have ones that are, like, closer in age to you. So you could, like, when you're a child, you're like, theoretically, I could marry this person. You know what I mean? It's like when you have a crush on, like, somebody who's that much older than you, you're like, I know I can't marry this person, but, like, I could have married Aaron Carter. You know what I mean? And so, I guess theoretically, once you get to a certain age, people marry each other with even bigger age gaps. But as a child, you were taught, you know, that the gap can only be this big. So, yeah. Yeah, he was going through a lot. He did. I saw them. They came to my small hometown. It's so interesting because I've talked about this before, how all of the, like, nostalgic, like, concerts, like, dream concerts that I wanted to attend, like, of my, like, nostalgic celebrity fandoms, I've gotten to see minus one of the original members. So when Backstreet Boys came to my hometown when I was in high school, that was the time when Kevin decided he didn't want to be part of the band anymore, and he left for a brief moment. And so that's when I saw them in concert. So that was without Kevin. And actually, Aaron was there. He was backstage, and a bunch of my friends who were on the other side of the theater, other side of the arena, spotted him. And so he didn't, like, perform or anything. The opener was Girlicious. Do you guys remember Girlicious? They were, like, part of the, like, Robin Antin, you know, the person who created the Pussycat Dolls, had a reality TV show to basically craft, like, Pussycat Dolls light. And Girlicious won. Or Girlicious was built with a bunch of people who won. I think there were 4. And then they dropped down to 3, because really the 4th one, she was one of the more talented ones, but none of the other girls liked her, so she didn't last very long. And the other 3 were, like, together for a while. But yeah, they opened for Backstreet Boys in my hometown. And then, yeah, right, Kevin is the oldest one. He's also, like, Brian's cousin, I think. But yeah, he decided he wanted out of the game, and then he came back. And then, when I moved here... Liam invited me to this, like, That's So 90s kind of, like, outdoor concert fair thing, and there was a bunch of, like, quintessential British 90s acts, like Bewitched and Blue, and there was a few other ones that, like, I didn't personally grow up with, but the one that I was the most excited about, but weren't they, like, one of the first acts of the day, was S Club 7, but this is... So far, this was when I first moved, so this was 5 years ago, when S Club 7 had completely disbanded by this point. So there were only 3 members that were currently touring at the time, and it was Joe, Bradley, and Tina, and they were going as S Club 3. So I technically saw S Club 7, but there was only 3 of them, and it was a little rough. They could still sing, but they attempted to do, like, old school 90s dance moves and was like, look how crazy this is. Like, we're old and we have kids now. We can still kind of sort of do this. And it was like, oof. It's a bit cringe, but I still learned all the words and was very, very excited about it. Yeah. Well, I 100% think, because I know he was dealing with addiction, and when it turned out that he had drowned in the bathtub, it reminded me of Whitney Houston's daughter. She also happened to her, and I do think it's because, yeah, you take drugs in a state that you then pass out, and it's considered like an accidental drowning, essentially. So yeah, it was one of those where when it came out about how he passed away, it was pretty easy to put the pieces together, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. I remember that too, that apparently it was very similar to the way her mom passed away as well. So yeah. Well, because his sister Leslie has been passed away for a while as well. Yeah, I think that whole family has a lot of trauma. I think as well, Aaron's had to emancipate himself, or he had to sue his family, because I think it was his mom was his manager at the time, and she took all of his money, and that sort of a thing. So there's a lot of that too, where it's like a bit of like milking your kids for your own benefit, and then them not actually getting to reap the benefits of their hard work. So there was a lot of that. So I think, that, yeah, it just, yeah. I think there's been a lot of reckoning in the entertainment industry about how child stars are treated and are continued to be treated. And this is one of the more tragic sides of it, because it has resulted in loss of life. But I think there is kind of a collective reckoning happening right now with sort of the 90s, 2000s child star, and how messed up it can make you if you achieve those levels of fame without proper mental health supports and guidance. What it can do to you, essentially. So, yeah. Yeah. Grief is complicated, though, eh? Like, it's one of those where I think sometimes if you, like, there's people who, it's almost like a love-hate thing. Sometimes people leave people because the situation is more toxic. It's more detrimental to both parties to stay together than it is to be apart. But you can still have, like, love there, even if it's, like, messy, chaotic love. You know what I mean? But, yeah. It was really interesting, because I remember, like, this was only, like, the other month. Oh, you know what it was? It was, like, last month or a couple months ago. I started rewatching Lizzie McGuire, and there was the Christmas episode when that's where her and Aaron, that's where Hilary Duff and Aaron Carter met for the first time, and he was in the Christmas episode. And I was like, oh, like, I don't, what's he up to? You know what I mean? Like, I knew he was struggling with different things, but, like, he hadn't really made the quote-unquote news in a hot minute in the last couple of months. Obviously, this is different. So I looked him up just to be like, oh, like, what's he up to? And I saw that he, I think the most thing is that he was sort of kind of doing a rap career. I didn't actually listen to any of the music, and that whoever he was seeing at the time, whether or not they were still together at the time of his death, I think they started an OnlyFans together. And those were sort of the only things I really saw of what he had been up to. But yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Oh, really? Was this like a recent one? I remember reading something, I think I've talked about this before, I've said something like this, where, I read somewhere or heard a theory that sort of the age that you become extremely famous or extremely successful, that's sort of like the mental age you kind of get stuck in as you sort of age through the public spotlight. And I think it takes a lot of like therapy and deconstructing your past and like really understanding yourself to push through that, because you're constantly effectively chasing the success, because theoretically, technically, the way society works traditionally, in a way, is that as you get older and get wiser, you therefore get more success in your life. Whatever that looks like, whether it's career success, family success, you know, love success, emotional success. So it's like this weird thing when you're successful as a child, because let's say you are literally, like, at one point, Aaron Carter was like the most popular person in the world at one point. And he hit that milestone, when he was like 12, 13? And so then you're spending your entire life trying to get back to that level of when you were 13. But it's like you've maybe just hit puberty, or you're just going through that. And also your brain isn't fully developed. Your prefrontal cortex that's in charge of like emotional regulation and all that kind of stuff isn't fully developed until you're 25. So you're experiencing all of this success with an underdeveloped brain, and then you're spending your entire life chasing this thing when you are nowhere near that person anymore. And that's got to be such a mind fuck, you know what I mean? Yeah, and so, yeah, they definitely... I saw something, like, I know Alison Stoner, also former child actress, was posting on Twitter about how she genuinely, because I think there's a few different former child actors that are kind of making positive waves in the, like, mental health child stardom phase, and she wants to look for people to actually do research into the mental health effects of being so successful at such a young age. And I think that that's really important work that needs to be done. Oh, it's such a different person under 25. Honestly, and I'm at the point now, like, I know I've just turned 30, so I'm sure, like, it's one of those where there are days where I still feel like I'm sort of 25, but then, you know, you meet anyone under the age of 25, and I'm like, you are children. Especially under the age of 21, I'm like, I know technically you are a legal adult, but you are a baby. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody who's under the age of 21 in the chat. You are a baby. And I mean it in the nicest possible way. But yeah. I think the other thing too, because I was going to say for me, like, I quite enjoy getting older. Everyone, you know, people were like, oh my god, are you freaking out at, you know, turning 30 and stuff? And I'm actually so excited, because I am the most mentally adjusted that I've ever been in my entire life. And if I'm just going to continue to get more and more mentally well adjusted as I get older, bring it on. Because I do not want to be the, like, mental health dipped emotional wreckage that I was in my, like, teens and early 20s. I don't want to go back to that. And so if every year I get older, I get further and further away from that, like, sign me the fuck up. You know what I mean? You do. Like, when I was a teenager, even when I was 12, I thought I was so cool. I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I was so smart, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you don't know shit, child. You are a baby. I just find my parents only other people. Yeah. Oh my god, right? They always say that. You're like, as you get older, you'll become more fiscally conservative. I'm like, nah, burn it to the ground. Burn it to the ground. Let's start over. Yeah. I think that's the thing too, right? It's like, maybe you would become more fiscally conservative if you had accrued capital that you're afraid of losing, but like you don't have anything. You know what I mean? It's like, no, actually, I'm fighting for the right to have the things that you're so fiscally afraid of that's going to be taken away from you. You're like, I don't even have the option to be afraid of that being taken away because I don't even have it in the first place. So I can't, you know what I mean? Like that's why everyone's seeing all of these like celebrities come out as more conservative, and it's like, well, yeah, you are part of the 1%. You want to protect your wealth. Guess what? I don't have that, so I don't need to be worried that it's gonna disappear. So therefore, I can. It's almost like I'm fighting for the right to even have access to the things that you're afraid I'm gonna take from you. Can't take it. I can't afford to take it. But yes, please tell me about how, we're yuppie little snowflakes and we need to, shut up with our identity politics and whatnot. It's like, it's not what it's about, but okay. You think that's what it's all about. And that's why you'll never understand. It's actually interesting, like, on the topic of, like, Aaron Carter and child stars and things like that. I've already told you how I watched, or I listened to the Jeanette McCurdy memoir, and that, like, fucked me up for a good few days. So, the other day, what's it all about? I don't know, man. Do you mean in the sense of what do all of these conservatives think we want besides identity politics, which also, being able to accept people for who they are and give them access to medical care that they need is ideal. But it's more than that, I think. What's it all? Let me try to describe, let me succinctly summarize what it's all about. Also, good morning, Cos. Hitting me with the existential questions. I don't know, I just got hearing you say. Yeah, we were talking about how the older generation likes to tell us younger generation that as we get older, we tend to become more conservative, and we're like doubling down on being more leftist and being even less conservative, because what everybody is like, all the conservatives that are fiscally responsible are concerned about losing. We, as the younger generation, don't even get access to those yet. So you're worried that, you're gonna get taxed higher. You're worried that your bills are gonna go up. You're like, dude, I can't even afford a house. That's not something I'm concerned about, So they think it's about identity politics, but it's more about giving access to the things that you are concerned that you are going to be without one day. Hi, Brandy! How are you this afternoon? Or this morning, wherever you are in the world? Really? So then do you have to kind of... It's a shame, because I feel like you should be able to vote for the candidate in your individual constituency that you think is going to do the best job for the area. But a lot of times it seems like now you have to become strategic with your vote. Because I know that happened a lot in Canada as well, where it's like, we know that the Green Party's never going to get a seat. So, but I do think that my Green candidate is going to be the best for my area. So that's who I want to vote for. But I know that essentially that's kind of throwing my vote in the grand scheme of trying to get a certain politician into power. You know what I mean? Which is shitty. It shouldn't be that way. Morning. Had to get blood drawn this morning. Aw, well, cheers to you for being a superhero. Blood being drawn isn't the most fun. I'm not the biggest fan of needles. I say that as I got a tattoo last week. Listen, I'm being a hypocrite, but I'm very, very proud of you. Very excited. Not so excited, but kudos to you for getting through that, because it's not fun. Ooh. Hi, Nungday! Yay! We have given birth to our Twitch baby. What shall we name her, or him, or them? However they would like to be identified. Welcome to the world, Twitch baby! Think we should have ranked voting. Oh, okay. Don't know if I know anything about, like, ranked voting. And Brandy, I'm doing well, thank you very much. I am stitching away. Stitching is my happy place. I was feeling pretty blah this morning. Nostalgia nung. I'm okay with that. Nostalgia nung, I like it. Yeah, I woke up feeling a little bit meh today, but I did like little tasks. And I know that cross-stitching always makes me feel better, so here I am, and I am indeed feeling better. Set of candidates new. Oh, okay, yes. Oh, that sounds like a really good way to do it, because then it's like, even if your first is like a lesser candidate, if your second is like one of the more primary contenders, then that would help bolster that person. I think that sounds like a good idea. Got a parcel full of fluffy yarn. Ooh, what colors? What colors? Winding it up all right now. Very nice. Has anybody started getting their Christmas craft on? To be fair, I feel like if you're making things for people, you need to have started like a couple months ago. I'm really bad for that, where I decide like in the middle of November, like I'm gonna make Christmas presents for people, and then I'm like struggle busing all the way to the end. Because I don't like to think about Christmas until December, but by that time, if you have to order anything or like get things present-wise, it's like too late. And I find that a wee bit stressful. Maybe that's why I was a bit in a bum mood today. Because we were thinking about Christmas presents and stuff last night. Like me and Liam were like, oh, what are we going to get for so-and-so? And I'm like, I don't have to be thinking about that yet. But if I don't think about it, if I have to order something that's not going to show up on time, especially too, we have to ship things to Canada. So we got to order it super early so we can send it super early so it actually gets to where it needs to go on time. But also my family is infamous for celebrating things not on the day that they're meant to happen. So it's not the end of the world. But I would still like, you know, like a little bit of timeliness. We always joke that if it comes before Ukrainian Christmas, we're fine. Because my family, like my mom's side of the family, heritage-wise, we're mostly Eastern European, Ukrainian specifically. And Ukrainian Christmas is in January. And so if it comes before then it still counts. I have to make my mom's gift, and that's all I have to do. Oh, that's good that you only picked one. That's a good idea. If you're gonna make a present, only pick one person to make things for, and then that way you're not completely overburdened. Tan, brown, red, green, blue, purple. Oh my goodness! Oh, that's awesome. So you're sort of filling in the empty spaces of your yarn color wheel. That's really clever. I had a little freak out yesterday. Because I posted the stream schedule and was like, we're going to try to needle felt Totoro this week. And then I was like, shit, do I even have gray wool to felt with? We got tons. We don't have to worry about that. I panicked for a little bit. And then I was like, no, we good. Okay, where are we at in terms? Yeah, hour and a half. This light is fading. I have proved my hypothesis. This light does not last more than an hour at full brightness. Whereas there was another one I was looking at. Apparently at full brightness, it can last like 6 hours. I'm like, that is ideal. I'm going to take a picture of the dogs for her. Oh, it's going to be awful. Oh, no. But you know she'll love it. And that's what matters. It comes from the heart. And so it's going to be amazing. It was really funny. My my friend came to visit a few weeks ago. Was it a few weeks ago now? Yeah, I guess so. And I have hanging in the corner of this room a painting she made me. It was like the first painting she ever did. We met in the 9th grade, so we're like, what, 13, 14? This painting that she painted me, depicting us as like two kind of Beatrix Potter style bunny rabbits. And she saw it when I was there, like when she was here, and she was like, as if you still have that. And I'm like, what? You made it for me. It's important to me. And she's like, you are like so sentimental to a fault. I'm like, she's like, this is such an ugly painting. I'm like, yeah, but you made it and I love it. So pish posh. Because she has another one here that she made me that I've hung up over here. And it was just like a little doodle, but it's a totally different style. It's like more her art style that she's refined. And she's like, I just doodled that for you. Why do you have it framed? I was like, because you made it for me and it's important. So yeah. Oh, you made Gus Gus. That's really sweet. Is Cinderella your mom's or yours favorite Disney movie? Or either way, very exciting. You had biscuits and gravy this morning. That sounds amazing. That is not something... I feel like, yeah, biscuits and gravy doesn't exist here. We do have, to be fair, the cafes, like the cafes here, they do very good breakfast, but it's not like your American, like, breakfast restaurant where you get, like, pancakes and fruit, and you can get, like, all of the fixings and all the things and stuff, so... Yeah. Yeah, right? Exactly. I was just saying, yeah, if biscuits would be cookies. Could you imagine putting cookies and gravy together? No. But... to be fair, you know what I think it would be more like? I feel like biscuits and gravy, the UK equivalent would be almost like a savory scone. Like a savory scone, but like a little bit fluffier with gravy, and I think that would be like the closest equivalent. Or I think it just, like, in terms of not texture-wise, but the idea is still the same, would be Yorkshire puddings with gravy. But that's more of like a brunch. I guess biscuits and gravy you could consider that more of a brunch food anyway. And yeah, like Sunday brunch, Sunday dinner, Yorkshire puds. You'd have Yorkshire puds at a brunch. That's what I'm assuming is the equivalent. Because Yorkshire puddings don't really exist anywhere else. Yeah, could you imagine? Yeah, right? See, there we go. We found the equivalent. I haven't had a Yorkshire pud in a hot minute. Oops. Oh no, we're fine. It's all good. Yeah. I know it wasn't until like I think it was like last year that I had ever had like a savory scone. It was really nice. It was like a sun-dried tomato situation. That was really nice. And then you obviously have like your classic regular scones and like raisin scones. Also very good. I think I went to a carvery a few years ago. Ooh. There was a like a carvery near one of our, like where one of my friends used to live, and we all went there because this whole thing they touted on their menu was that they did like a Yorkshire pudding wrap. So it was like a Yorkshire pudding roast dinner wrap. So they would stick everything in a Yorkshire pudding wrap, and you would eat it. And that was like this whole thing, like, oh guys, we gotta have to try the Yorkshire pudding wrap. But basically Yorkshire pudding, the batter in itself is very like crepe-like. And so it basically just kind of felt / tasted like a crepe. And so the idea was there, but like the execution, it kind of didn't like, it was more like it was a pancake wrapped roast dinner than a Yorkshire pud. You know what I mean? But they said it was still good. Obviously, I couldn't have it because it had the glutens in it, but... said it was enjoyable, but not what they expected. And I'm like, fair. That's fine. It still sounds nice, right? Exactly. It's doing like a little bit. I guess we'll keep it on. We'll keep it on till it dies. Oh, my face is itchy. Oh, I think it finally stopped raining. It was like the blusteriest of rains earlier. Oh, do I have an eyelash in my eye? Probably. Whew, it's okay. It's all good. Let's move this over so we can see what we're doing. Ooh. Switch back to markup mode. Oh, gee, Scoop. Oh, Shadow's downstairs. To be fair, Shadow started, he came up, sat on the futon. I was like, cool, he's gonna hang out on stream today, but I hadn't gotten my tea yet. So I went downstairs to get tea, and then he came with me and didn't want to come back up. He was like, I'm comfy on the sofa. I'm like, okay, fine then. So we might not get an appearance from him today. Or we might, but only when he decides he wants attention and is not gonna let me stream anymore. But we'll see. He might come and say hi. It was really nice. He didn't usually, when Liam goes to work, then Shadow will come into bed and snuggle for a bit. He didn't do that today. But in the afternoon, or not in the afternoon, it was like around noon, I'd finished folding laundry and he was sitting on the sofa, or not sitting on the sofa. Words are hard. He was lying on the bed, and then I went and like sat down beside him, and he like curled up next to me. So I was like, you knew that I needed snuggles today, didn't you, bud? So he's like, don't worry, Mom, I still snuggle you. So he was forgiven. Yeah, hopefully. It looks like today was sort of the last day that we were going to have like really stupid, stormy, rainy weather. So hopefully, if it's still forecasted to be nice and sunny, I'll probably take him for another forest walk tomorrow. I think we both need it. And then, yeah. I'm trying to think what else. What other plans? Honestly, like, especially I find when the sun goes down, it used to be about 6 o'clock that I would, like, words would be expertly hard for me, but since the sun goes down so much earlier, it's like, I don't know, by 5. Well, by now, by like 4:30, words are getting hard. Try my best. Okay, they're sort of jumping all over the place on here because I don't feel like cutting and rethreading this. Yeah, honestly, late at night words are so hard. Exactly, Randy, 100%. Way too dark. Honestly, like, yeah. No idea what time it is, and you're like, it feels like midnight, and it's like, no, it's only 8 o'clock, and you're like, that doesn't make sense. That feels like shenanigans. Absolute shenanigans. Okay, where are we going with this one? Ugh. I think so. It's not even 5, but yeah, honestly, yep, I 100% agree. A 100%, yeah, it's like your brain literally gets tired. Honestly, like, especially this past, I want to say this past week, it's finally clearing now, but there was a couple days where I'm like, my brain literally feels like 90s dial-up all day. Like, everything's just taking that split second too long to register in my brain. It was awful. It's one of those where I don't mind being tired, but like, when I can't think straight on top of that, it's like, no bueno. It's not a fun time. It's like you almost feel like trapped in your head. I'm like, this shouldn't be this hard. Thankfully, the brain fog is passing for me a little bit, so that's nice. That's been you all day. Yeah, honestly, it's the worst, isn't it? You're like, I promise you, I don't usually have to think this hard to get through the day. Yeah, right? You're like, what's going on with my head? Like, there's moments where I'll try to, like, tell something to Liam, and I'll have to fully stop and, like, take a deep breath and wait and start again. Be like, give me a second. Like, everything that was coming out of my mouth just sounded like gobbledygook. Give me a minute. Sometimes it's like that too when I get into bed, because like I'll usually go to bed before Liam does, and then he'll get into bed and he'll be like, are you asleep? Like, how's it going? And by that point, you know when you're like not asleep, but you've shut down the part of your brain that wants to talk anymore? So it's like, I'm not fully asleep yet, but you're like trying to talk to, like, someone's trying to talk to you, and all you can really just get out are just like grunts. Like, oh, how's it going? Like, I can't form words right now. That part of my brain has been turned off for the evening. Words will not be being formed anymore. Try again in the morning. Yeah. When you lie and you're yeah, you're like, I'm not. Yeah, like, don't ask me questions. There are moments where I full on, and to be fair, Liam's the same way, which is really good. It's like a good thing we communicate, where we're both like very blatantly like, I am not in the headspace to make any decisions, so you need to make the decisions for me today. Like, or like in this moment, it'll be like, what do you want for dinner? And it's like, I literally don't care because I cannot form an opinion right now. So one time I stayed up all night. I was really tired the next morning. I had to go to school. Yeah. You're like, whatever structure that was holding these synapses together, it has fallen down. The bridge connecting the fucks I give for today has crashed. It has collapsed. I'm sorry. No more fucks to give today. No more concrete brain synapse connection. The bridge is closed for repairs. Yeah. I feel that. And it's not like it's an enjoyable feeling. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe there's some people out there who, like, revel in, like, just being brain dead. They're like, whatever, man, like, it's no big deal. I just, like, forget stuff and it's fine. Whereas, like, me, it's so not what I'm like on a day-to-day basis that I'm like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. And, yeah. And it's, like, one of those where you just get frustrated with yourself. And you have to, like, you know, give yourself some grace. Does not cut yourself some slack and let yourself rest. I say it in a mocking tone because I'm the worst for that. Like I said, I woke up like not in the best mental headspace, and I'm like, give yourself compassion, self. And I'm like, shut up. I'm frustrated that you don't feel good. If you do that, you like get mad at your brain. You're like, hi brain, we don't have time to feel depressed today. Can you snap out of it? Come on, none of this please. And you're like, no, we're gonna double down on it and make you feel like mush. And you're like, I would love for you to cooperate with me. Doesn't always do it. It was very interesting. So yesterday, I was really excited to do it. It was annoying though. So I watched the Selena Gomez documentary because I thought it was really interesting because I know that she's been going through some like mental health stuff, and she has also like autoimmune diseases and things like that, which is also me, not to that same degree though. So it was really interesting. I had to quickly sign up for Apple TV, get my week free trial, watch the thing, and then cancel the subscription before I forgot. But I found it really relatable. Anybody who's ever felt like you've kind of struggled to find yourself in and amongst, like, almost like you're just sort of passively, like you're a passenger in your own life, and then you also have this, like, really shitty, rude travel partner that is your brain that's constantly, like, feeding you things, like, not good things about yourself. It can be really hard to, like, kick that passenger off the train and also take control of the train at the same time. So it was really nice to watch somebody go through it and come out the other side and relate to that. You know what I mean? I have trouble remembering. It really gets on my boss's nerves. I can't remember jobs from like last week. Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah. That's the thing, right? And I also think too, like, because I know we've talked about like ADHD brain and things like that, where my brother is very much like, and I think, to be fair, I feel like that a lot of people live in the present as well, where it's like, if you have completed a job and the job is done and you've ticked it off the proverbial checklist in your brain has yeeted that out of your head now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, if the job is done and things have happened, there is no need to keep that shit in your brain any longer. At least that's what your brain is telling you. So that when somebody comes back and is like, oh, by the way, do you remember this thing? You're like, well, if it's been completed, I've checked it off in my head and it's gone now, so no. But obviously, if it's gone from my brain, that means I've done it and it's fine. So don't worry about it. Yeah, no, exactly. Visual memory. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely... yeah, that's definitely something that I recognize in my brother as well. He started keeping a to-do. Yeah, honestly. That's also a really good way, too, to just make you feel like you've accomplished things. Like, I'm a big proponent to to-do lists, and I'll put like mundane shit on there. Depending on like how difficult it is for me to get stuff done during the day, like I will put have lunch on the to-do list and I will check that off the to-do list. I was gonna have lunch anyway, but that just makes you feel a little bit more accomplished to see more things checked off. You know what I mean? It like gives you more motivation to check off the remainder of the things because you've already checked some off. That's my hot tip. Put like dumb shit on your to-do list that you were gonna do anyway, because it makes you feel more accomplished. Right, yeah, definitely. I can see how that could be frustrating for your boss. I get like both sides. You know what I mean? I get how your brain works, but I also get how that might not be helpful in some iterations. You know what I mean? That's part of being neurospicy. Yeah, fair. Where's all my neurospices at? We're our neurospicy squad over here. Also, no one can gaslight you, and you have. That's fair. That's fair. You're like, I have listed it down. I have checked it off the to-do list. Clearly, if it's here, that means I know it exists and I paid attention and I've done the thing. That's good. Honestly, that's just like good things for life, is especially like in a working environment, even a not working environment. I don't know, like document everything. Like make sure if somebody says something to you, you get that shit in writing. And you get that written somewhere where you can find the date of it. You know what I mean? So it's a physical thing you've written down. You'd be like, date that and sign that, please. That is now a legally binding contract. You have said this is a thing. That's why it's like if someone emails you, you have a paper trail. WhatsApp will have timestamps. I think most apps will have timestamps so you can see that shit. Definitely. Yeah, it annoys me too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're like, I also do not like this thing that my brain does. Thank you for pointing it out for me. Any memory books? Yeah. Honestly, that's why it's like they said. Yeah. For Amnet, like what they said about like making lists and doing, you have to like have all those things in your toolbox. Because, hey man, the brain will play tricks on you, so you gotta put tangible things in place to make it not put tricks on you. Thank you so much for the follow as well. Is it 4Amnet? Or 4am unit? However you would like me to pronounce your username. If I'm doing it wrong, please correct me. But I'm very happy to have you here. Thank you so much for the follow. And guys, we're getting very, very close to 190 followers. Which means we're getting very, very close to 200 followers. Which means we're getting very, very close to our follower giveaway. Which is very exciting. You said it right the first time. Okay. Framunet. Cool. Framunet. Excellent. I will remember that. What am I doing? Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I need to physically see things. Like, for instance, every time I leave the house and I bring my bag with me, 9 times out of 10, like, my wallet will always be in my bag. I never take it out of my bag. And if I do, I always put it back in my bag. But when I leave the house, I'm always like, I need to check to make sure this is in here. I will fully have left the house and I'm like, is it actually in here? Or is it that one time I'm going to go somewhere and it's not actually going to be in there? So there's this thing of like, you know, putting things in place to make your life more efficient. So it's always going to exist in this space. But in the same vein, you're like, but what if it doesn't? What if it suddenly grew legs and walked out of my bag and it's not in there the one time I don't check? You know? So always, yeah. Visually, it's helpful to have lots of visual aids, if that is helpful to you. I'm glad I said it right the first time. I will try my best to remember. Okay, are we gonna get the other 4 stitches out of this? We'll try. We will try to get them. Okay, we'll try to get those, and then what I want to do is get these guys cleared out and finished. because I know the goal is to be moving in this general direction, like across the page, but there is some gaps up here that I would like to fill as we do that. So how about a pegboard to put next to my Yep, that I get that, right? Where it's like step 1 of putting things in place. Procure the thing, and you're like, okay, shit, now I gotta remember. It's like when you're like, okay, I would like to create an aid to help myself, and you're like, okay, I've found the thing I want to do. Now you need to implement it. And that's a whole other stack of steps that just getting to the point of getting the thing was already a big thing. So yeah, sending you strength and good vibes that you will cross this threshold and install the pegboard one day. I believe in you. You can do it. I also am aware that putting things up here in the UK is a bitch and a half. So I don't envy you having to, you know, drill holes into the wall. It's never a fun time. It's not like in Canada where there's timber frames and as long as there's no wires, you find a stud, smack a nail in there, call her a day. Ain't nobody got time for drilling and drill plugs and all those different shenanigans. And then the cleanup afterwards, it's a lot. Perfect. So there is another set of them here, but we don't have enough floss for that, so that's fine. We will flip it, park it, snip it. Dokes. Oh, let's readjust, reassess. Okay. Mark these off. Okay. Take a drink. Take a little sip. I don't know the words, I just made them up. Changing the words to songs to make sense to what you're doing. Okay. This is the color, which I haven't used it yet. And this... I really wanna say ah. That just reminds me. Thank you so much for that, Saul. I really appreciate a little spicy spice pick me up. Wasn't I telling you about how I always see my favorite nostalgic bands, pop groups, minus some of their members? The last one was the Spice Girls. And I saw the Spice Girls minus Victoria Beckham. So that was the last one. I don't know if I actually finished that story. Gotta keep Tash moving, yeah? Get me loosey-goosey. Gotta get those dance vibes in. Yeah, that works better than the stretch, doesn't it? Oh. We should do a little stretchy stretch anyway. I have to ask my friend. So one of my friends has started going on like 2-hour walks every day. And Liam was telling me that apparently this friend of ours has an app that like counts the amount of steps or the amount of like distance you've traveled and then puts it towards like a milestone. So he's currently walking from the Shire to Mordor. So, like, a Lord of the Rings trek. And so the amount of, like, the journey time it takes to do that, that's what he's aiming at. And I guess he's been doing this for, like, about a week or two now. and he's like just gotten out of the Shire. But I think that that's a really cool, like, motivating app. And I want to look for some more, because like I go for walks with Shadow almost every day. And I think there's been a few I was looking at for like cozy iPhone games the other day, and I found like a plant growing one, I think. And you grow the plants by walking and like accumulating distance. And so I'm like, there must be other like gamified walking apps out there. Like I know that like Pokemon Go has an aspect of that for like hatching eggs and things, but where the whole game is sort of around like accumulating miles. I think that I don't know, I want to look into that. I would like a game like that, or maybe I just also get the Lord of the Rings one. Oh, you posted the video. Okay, perfect. I will watch that. I'll watch that later. I really want to check that out. I feel like I might have actually seen it, but I do want to watch it again. Oops. But yeah, so any other, that's what I want to look up. Gamifying fitness apps. Because I do have like fitness trackers on my phone, but it would be much more exciting to work towards something. It's like what my mom does, you know, it's why she signs up for all of these like 10Ks and all these different walks and things. So she's like, you get medals. So I'm like, I want check marks for things that I've accomplished. Shadow gets them on his doggy Fitbit, though he hasn't gotten one in a while. At first it was like things like, oh, you've walked all around this, or you've walked up, you know, Ben Nevis, the amount of miles you've done, or something like that. So we've not, but I think now it's just like, oh, 10-day streaks or different day streaks and stuff now, which isn't as exciting. Trapped that tail sufficiently. I think so. Yeah, so in addition, the reason I started looking up like cozy ISO games, I was looking at, there was this YouTuber I found named Cozy K, and she was reviewing like different cozy video games, either for the Switch or for like your phone or different things like that, or for PC. And so I'm always interested, because I'm always like, I don't game a lot, but I'm always interested in, I don't know, any more cozy vibes. But again, this is where my like niche nerd, like narrow idea of what like cozy is or whatever, like I don't know if it's the same, or like not everything under that cozy umbrella appeals to me. A lot of the ones that were recommended, and a lot of the ones that get recommended all the time, are like resource management games, or ones that I find can get a bit like grindy. So they're meant to be like casual, where you like pop in, do whatever. It's like the Animal Crossings and like Stardew Valleys of the world, which aesthetically look amazing, and you're like in your little farm and you like do up your little house and you do all these little adventures and things like that. But it's like, and then you go around and like, you know, say hi to your villagers and do all these kinds of things, and then it's like, if there isn't an overarching story to me, I find those more stressful than like cozy and relaxing, because I'm like, they just get really grindy and repetitive, which is annoying because I want the cozy game. So I think I need a bit more of like a narrative arc to my like quote unquote cozy games, even if like the games are a bit more like passive, because I don't know, man, it's a lot of pressure to like go around and do all the things. And then also if it's a lot of the same stuff. I haven't played Disney Dreamlight in a hot minute, but I know that there were some moments where if like there was a long time between kind of progressing the storyline, it gets a bit grindy. At least with that one, so far, there seems to be enough downtime. Like there seems to be enough, it's not so grindy that then there isn't a payoff. Like the payoffs happen more frequently. Whereas I find in things like Animal Crossing, like once you've upgraded your house to a certain extent and you've like got all your villagers in and whatever, like unless you enjoy curating and like doing the forest management and build, like the build mode side of things, it's very samey. And I guess there is comfort in like routine, but I find there's comfort in my routine outside of the video game world. You know what I mean? I don't know. So yeah, so I've been struggling a little bit with that again, with all my media intake, where I'm like, this is my version of what this term means. And then society is like, no, what about all these options? And I'm like, none of those quite hit in the way that I want them to. So, but there were a couple that I was like, oh, that seems kind of interesting. But yeah, again, a lot of them were more like, you run a cozy cafe and it's all about, you know, monitoring your resources and doing these different things like that. And exactly, I think that's exactly what it is for. It is that needs to be productive part where I'm like, okay, what am I achieving? Like, what am I doing this to work towards? Like some sort of like, and again, can be like that grind mindset. I have to, you know, pick all of the apples in the orchard to make this thing so I can then unlock this thing. And it's like, yeah, but you need a bajillion apples. And it's like, okay, now I'm literally doing this for hours and it's not fun anymore. Honestly, thank you. See, you get it. You 100% get it. But you're like, why is this so stressful when it's meant to be cozy? I don't, like, why is my brain not letting this be cozy? Open games with quests. Yeah, definitely. There has to be some sort of goal. I think that's what it is. And, like, maybe that's the, like, yeah. It's very hard to to silence that need for productivity. Where it's like, I can't just exist in a game. I'll just, you know, exist on my sofa instead. Though, yeah, if people prefer that, like, kudos to them, but that's clearly, yeah, not... And, yeah, I need to be achieving something. There needs to be a goal. Where's the cozy quests, right? I want cozy quest-based games. With, like, an overarching story. And I think, too, there's, like, little quests and things like that in, like, Stardew Valley where it's like, oh my god, like, I lost something, can you go find it for me? But that's the one that I keep seeing come up, and I think that's one that I do want to try. That is definitely, The Night in the Woods is definitely one that I've seen a lot the last few months, and it's piqued my interest. Because it is more story-based from what I can tell, and I think that would be more my jam. Again, too, like, I keep harping on resource management, and how it's like annoying to me. But my favorite game ever is Don't Starve. But I think the thing with that is that I don't like it for like the Don't Starve Together world building, whatever. I love the art style. I think that's the main reason why I love the game is the art style. But I also like adventure mode, which I still have yet to beat. But at least adventure mode has a goal and a purpose. You're like building and crafting with the goal of collecting all the pieces to get to the next level. So that's like the mix of it that I like. Whereas if it's just me, you know, trying to survive and like that's it, like just sandbox mode, I don't think I can handle it. Story-based but also interactive. I like that. Thank you so much for the chill vibes. Yay! Thank you so much for stopping by, Saul. I hope you have a lovely stream, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for always stopping by. You're the best. Don't mind me. We might half stitch these over here because our goal is to sort of end up back down here. So I think that will be what we're working in. There's new game I'm looking forward to. It's really called A Little to the Left. It's a cozy puzzle game where you sort and organize household items. That sounds awesome because I know I really like the unpacking game. But I like that there's a little bit of, like, shenanigans with that as well. I'll have to look that one up. Let me write that down. That sounds adorable. Like that. You're like, we must pack and organize, but some cat, like, our cat's gonna, like, yeet it off the shelf if we're not careful. Oh. Didn't I say I was going to half stitch these? Whoops, my bad. That's fine. I know a different route we will take. A different stitch route will be forged. going to this direction. Excuse me, Mr. Needleminder. Okay, where to now? Let's actually cross off what we've done so we don't lose track. This is the route we will take back. These ones we need to half stitch though. Sometimes I'm putting the stitches in the right place, but then they're like moving between the lines, the threads. Very strange. Okay. know if we'll have enough. Like, this will go here. We might actually have enough to go all the way down here. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how far we can get with this strand of thread. And then we'll sort of plan the attack of whether or not we continue with this color or if we swap. This down here so we stop connecting it onto things. Just check. Right, now we're continuing down the stitch, down the project to the initial pathway that we were going for. Here? Question mark? Yes, okay. Let's just readjust. Move my feet and the blanket and myself. Only because I feel like I'm leaning like this, which is probably not good. Ugh. While we're here, finish the tea, grab a sweet out of the candy pumpkin for more sustenance. I'm trying to get through these jelly beans. They're the least exciting of the bunch. They're left over from the guess how many jelly beans in the jar from the baby shower I did. So these were not sweets that I have chosen for myself. They are leftovers. So they're not as exciting, so I'm trying to get through them. Squeeze me. Where did my music go? Did it play all of the tracks? Apparently it's playing. Oh, hello, sir. Someone has decided to come and join us. Maybe we'll just put on chill, because chill has more options. There we go. Do I hear something, or am I just imagining it? working now. So to give it a moment. Well, aren't you looking like the cutie patootie? You say hello. Look, he's doing his emote. He looks just like the Sleepy Shadow emote. Don't you, bud? Not anymore. Okay. Oh, my leg's a bit sore. My tattoo is definitely in the scabbing over phase of its healing process. And for the most part, it's not bad. It's just the two mushrooms, I think, because there's a lot of different colors and different shading on it. That's the part that's scabbed over the most. So it's when I move my leg and stretch it, it kind of pulls on the skin. Yeah, so it's in that fun phase. But I think, so when did I get it? I got it. Yeah, we're almost coming up, so Thursday will be, or no. Yeah, Wednesday. So tomorrow will be at the 1 week mark since I got the tattoo. And so they said roughly 2 weeks, so I think now hopefully we'll reach sort of over the hump of the healing process and it'll start to be less uncomfy. So saying before how, because this is the first tattoo I've gotten on my leg, I'm not used to one of the things that they were really not concerned about, but they really emphasized, and I've read up where it's don't wear tight-fitting clothing. Obviously you want things to be very loose and be able to have it air out, and you don't want friction pulling off the scab too early, things like that. I live in leggings, so to have something on my leg making it possibly detrimental to the tattoo to wear leggings. I only own 4 pairs of loose pants, 2 of which are sweatpants. The other 2 are more loungy wear, but the thing is too, they're also they're either sweatpants, very grubby sweatpants, or they're really thin lounge pants, which makes going out in public I feel very underdressed. I feel like I'm wearing my grubby clothes out to the store and things, so it's making me less inclined to want to leave the house, except for walking. Walking with shadow. I can look like a gremlin walking around in the forest, that's fine. It's if I want to go be presentable, I have to go to the mall, or I want to go to the mall to pick up a Secret Santa present, because we're doing our family Christmas dinner / Secret Santa thing early December, so I want to try to get some shit sorted. But I don't want to go to the mall looking like a gremlin. So, we'll see. Pajamas are loose. Yeah, right? Exactly. I have a couple pairs of denim jeans, but those are obviously quite stiff. And definitely, they're not tight. They're not skinny jeans. They're straight leg, though. So they're, tight enough that I would be concerned about wearing them with, while this is healing. So yeah, I know it's a very it's a self-induced problem. I'm oh, woe is me, I don't have any loose pants, and it's bitch, you got a tattoo, calm down. But I'm eh. But yeah, so I don't recommend getting a leg tattoo when it's cold out and all you wear is leggings. Because then you have to reach into your, like, thin summer loose grubby pants clothes, and they either don't keep you warm or they look like you shouldn't be leaving the house in them. At least in my experience. Ooh, yeah, I've heard feet are, first, one of the most painful places to get them. But yeah, how was the healing on those? I guess it would be ideal to get, I guess depending on how, like, where on your foot, you could probably, like, maybe get away with, like, flip-flops and stuff. But yeah, I could see that being very difficult. Did you? So it's like along the flip-flop strap, so it's like peak potential, like, friction causing. Non-stick pads. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been interesting. I feel like, I wonder if, even then still, I don't know if I'd trust it. Like, if you wore, like, really kind of fluffy socks. But even still, like, if they're in a boot or something, that would then be quite restrictive. So I'm just trying to think, if you got a foot tattoo in the wintertime, how you would live your life. And I guess you would just hunker down for the 2 weeks it was healing. That's really cool. That's cool that you just, like, that the tattoo is designed that way. It's like a fun little secret tattoo. Yeah, for a week you had to wear different sandals. Oh, that's good. Yeah, you'd have to, yeah, have ones that the strap lined up in a place different from where the tattoo was healing. Yeah. See what I mean? You gotta be strategic. But yeah, lesson learned for me. Like, if I ever get another leg tattoo, it's gonna be in the summer when it's warm. I know you have to worry about, like, sweating and stuff. Okay, maybe, like, the springtime. I don't know. Not when it gets, not before it gets, not peak summer, like early summer, so I can wear shorts or dresses, but not so hot that I'm sticky and sweaty and it potentially messes with the tattoo. It's a fine balance. Yeah. To be fair, it's quite mild here as well. Like, we're still obviously, like, the storm, like, it's been quite, like, not thunderstormy, but quite stormy and stuff like that. But usually, like, everyone's kind of preparing to, like, do their last cut of their lawns before it sort of gets too cold for the grass to be growing and things. It's like a freaking rainforest out in our backyard right now. But the problem is also rainforest problems, because it's so damp all the time. There's not enough breaks between the raining and it being dry for the, like, backyard, for the grass to dry out enough to be able to cut it. So it's in desperate need of like a mow, but it's been too damp to do it. And then it just keeps growing because it's also quite warm and damp. So it's a fun little combo. And then it just makes, the fact that, like, the grass is so long then makes it feel like you're walking, like when we take Shadow for W's in the morning. And like, we go out through the back garden. It's like you're walking through a landmine because you have to try to avoid all of his poop, because he doesn't have a designated poop spot. He just kind of, like, haphazardly goes where he wants. the whole sort of like back garden is his poo spot. And so you need to like tiptoe around and make sure you don't accidentally step in anything. Yeah. To be fair, we actually had a hose ban, like a garden hose ban here. And they technically haven't lifted it yet. So we've been getting like a bunch of rain. But the dog park we always take Shadow to, it has this pond and it has like a rain meter in it. And the baseline of this pond is still incredibly low, despite the fact that it feels like it's been pissing down with rain for like weeks now. So it's clearly like gotten so dry that even all of this on-off rain hasn't done enough to recoup the original moisture loss, which is wild. It's still obviously enough to grow the grass, but yeah. That's wild, though, that you're still going through a drought. Do you traditionally get, like, snowy winters where you are, or not really? It's not like, it's not like properly snowed here since, well, it's like the longest the snow has lasted here over like maybe like a 48-hour period. Right, it's Alabama. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's one of those where I'm like, I don't even know where places do or don't anymore. Because obviously because I originally grew up in Northern Ontario, Canada, so we always get snow. But it's like we always get a metric F ton of snow, but now it's gone down to like half a metric F ton, but it's still a lot, you know what I mean? Whereas in England, it's like, I don't know, it's like some, like, the higher beings take, like, you know, icing sugar and just dust the city, and like that's it. And then it gets all slushy and gross. So there was a time where there was enough to maybe make a snowman, and then for like, you know, 24 hours, and then it melts. Yeah, okay, so it is very similar to here in the sense that, like, because you're not used to having snow, there's no point in the government investing in infrastructure to have snow removal. And so when snow does happen, there's no infrastructure to deal with it, and so then everything shuts down. Because that's what happens here as well. It's like, oh my god, there's snow on the train tracks, we don't know what to do, shut it down. I think one time it got so bad they had to, like, call in the armed forces to help out because they just don't have snow removal. It's, like, not a thing. Whereas, yeah, where I grew up, it's like we had hella infrastructure because there was tons of snow. Jeez, wow. Yeah, and ice is the worst. One of the things, like, two reasons I'm thankful, one, that it doesn't snow a lot here, and two, that we have a garage that we store our car in, because the amount of times, like, you would think, like, I had lived, you know, for, what, 25 years of my life? Basically 25 years of my life, growing up where I grew up, so I was fully aware that we got a butt ton of snow, and it covered the car, and you had to make sure you left a good, like, 15 minutes early before the plan was to leave the house to, like, go to work or go to school, because you needed to heat up the car and shovel all of the snow off the car. Do you think the amount, I think, what, how long had I been driving for? Got my license, what, when I was a bit later to get it. Let's say I was, like, let's just say I'm 20. Let's keep it nice and round. So, like, for 5 years, I was very aware that I needed to leave enough time to shovel snow off my car and heat up my car in the morning. Did I ever do that? No. So I'm thankful I don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah, let's make sure the car didn't auto start. Yeah. Exactly, that's what we would do too. You'd have the auto start in the car, let it start to heat up, and then it heats up from the inside, and then it melts the ice that accumulated on the windshield, and it makes everything easier to just brush off or wipe off instead of having to like chip away at it for a million years. Yeah. I remember I had a panic attack on the way to like an anxiety attack on the way to university because I was going to leave. My parents were on holiday in like Hawaii or something like that, and we had a massive ice storm, and I could not get the car defrosted, and I was freaking out to the point where I messaged my mom being like, oh my god, the car is frozen solid, I don't know what to do. And she's like, we're on vacation, we can't help you, like figure it out. And I think I remember messaging my prof being like, I'm really sorry, I'm not going to be in class tonight. Like, I had a bit of a mental breakdown because I couldn't get my car out of the ice, out of the driveway. I'm really sorry. And they're like, whatever, it's fine. Yeah. It was, yeah. My mom's like, what do you want us to do from Hawaii? And I'm like, I don't know. I just need advice. They're like, what? Like, I'm a full-blown adult at this point. And they're like, figure it out. But I can't. And this is why I enjoy the fact that I'm older now. Because I'm not that unhinged anymore. I've had more life experience that my instinct is any little inconvenience is not for me to automatically call my mother, which is what it used to be. It was really funny because one time when Liam and I were living in his old flat when I first moved here, we were putting up like a knife rack, and Liam had like checked to make sure everything was like good before he drilled in, but it looked like he had drilled, and then the wiring obviously in this flat was like not done to code, so he ended up accidentally drilling a little bit into the wire, and it shorted the fuse in the flat. And I was like, holy shit, like, you almost died, should we call your parents? And he's like, no, I'm an adult, we are adults, we can call an electrician, and we can sort it out ourselves. And it was in that moment where we were both like, this is how we know that Liam had been adulting a lot longer than I had, because my instinct was to call the nearest adults for help, and he goes, Tasha, we are the adults. And my brain was like, no, that doesn't compute. What do you mean I'm the adult in this situation? That doesn't make any sense. Drilled through a wire in the attic. Yeah, thankfully, like, nothing crazy happened. Like, as soon as it, like, touched, it was like, shit, no, pull away. Lights went off, whatever, it was fine. But yeah, but again, I said that was 5 years ago. So again, yeah. My prefrontal cortex had just finished developing at that point. Because apparently it, fully develops by the time you're like 25. So I was just freshly prefrontal cortex fully formed, being like, we need to call adults. And Liam's like, calm down, you're an adult. And I'm like, that sounds like fake news. I don't think I'm an adult. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so I feel much more like an adult now. My first instinct isn't to call my mom or my mother-in-law at first sign of inconvenience. It might be to call Liam, but that's different. Yeah, it was dumb because it was like, you find where, like, you logistically know where the wires go and things like that. But yeah, this one was just like a faulty one. Still not able to adult. Honestly, that's the other thing that I do realize. The older I get, the more I realize that everyone's just winging it. No one really knows what the hell is going on. Everyone's just trying their best. And it's like, if you're just trying your best and like you're a good-hearted human being, that's like all you can expect from yourself. Like, if you're a manipulative shitty person, like, change yourself, get better. But, like, if you're a good-hearted person and you're just trying your best, like, that's all you can really ask from yourself, you know? We're all just out here just doing our best. Yeah. Yeah, I say that, but I am also somebody who struggles with perfectionism and, you know, feeling like I have to actively combat my negative internal monologue that tells me that I'm not good enough, and I have to actively push back against that. So, do as I say, not as I do. So yes. In theory, I am aware of these things. In practice, my brain still wants me to excel and be perfect and do all of the things. Even though I logically know that everyone's just winging it and trying their best. And that's all we can ask for. Because, you know, brains are fun. Mental health internal monologues are fun. They play tricks on you and you actively have to combat them. Yeah. So I literally got the opposite of it tattooed on my arm. So I literally, my first tattoo is something saying I am enough on it, because it was like after I had been to therapy for like, this is as an adult the second time, like a group therapy, and we were talking about the internal monologues and the internal sort of like stories you tell about yourself and how you actively have to rewrite those stories once you understand where those come from and like why you have the thoughts that you have. Group CBT therapy. I've done that hell of a few times. So in this particular instance, it was about rewriting those things. And so I rewrote the I am not enough to I am enough and got that tattooed on my body to remind myself. Does the reminder always work? No. But I try my best. Because again, that's all we can ask of ourselves. Honestly. Like, that's why I'm medicated. Yeah. There's only so many things. Well, there's lots of different ways. There's the many different ways to tell your inner monologue to shut up. But it's easier said than done. But that's why. Honestly, that's part of the reason why I cross-stitch. Because I'm too busy counting and focused on, like, a pattern that I don't have time for, like, it's like, if you can't silence it, you push it out with other things. Allegedly. In my experience, from one of the many therapy sessions I've attended over the years. But it doesn't necessarily make it go away. You just go, sorry, there's too much other shit in here. You need to go somewhere else for a little bit. I have filled my brain with other things that negative thought has no room. But like I said, easier said than done. This light's still holding on. It's just operating it. Not very bright. Let's just check. Let's just do an experiment. Does this light actually make a difference? To a degree. Yeah, you say that. There's still so much to do. But we'll get it done. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Where was the last one I stitched? There it is. Whoa. But yeah, I've been actively working off stream on this one because I know it's a massive project. To try to, my goal is to like get more than one page done this month. This is the only page that is like 100% full coverage. The other pages are like, I think we counted last time, there's like 2 or 3 other mostly full coverage pages. And then the other ones, there's like little sections. So like only half a page or a quarter of a page or only like really a few stitches. So it still seems like a very daunting task, but knowing that this is sort of like the largest piece of the puzzle, if we get this done, then we actually have got a large chunk of the piece done, even though it doesn't seem that way because it's like one of 16 pages or something like that, but not all 16 pages are full coverage, so that makes it a little bit more palatable. Okay, I think this is the last stitch for this line of thread, but we do have a little bit more in terms of this color down here, so I think we will stretch up a new line of thread and fill in those gaps. Make sure I'm not missing anything. It's like sometimes when it's almost like when I'm crossing things off, sometimes I think I might accidentally go into another square and then it will preemptively check it off even though I've not actually done that section yet. So every once in a while have to make sure that I've not checked something off that I'm not supposed to. But I think we are okay. Did I put my scissors? I always misplace them. There they are. They were hiding behind my phone. Okay, before we continue, I'm gonna take a little bit of my granola bar because I'm getting a wee bit peckish. My apologies for any crunching noises you are about to hear. Hello. got granola bar stuck in my teeth. Hoping to find a track where I can sort of go this way and then come back down again. I think we will achieve that. I believe all of this, except for 3 up here, or 4 up here, are all this color, so I don't think we have to think too hard about that, so that's good. Yeah, I think once we fill in this section and then there's sort of 2 colors around here, then this will start to like look a little fuller. Onwards and upwards and such. So I think once we do this section, there's a bit of this color in these sections that we need to fill out. So we'll do that. What time is it? Okay, we got 15 minutes, so we might just be finishing off this. But if we finish off this section and we can get those done, then that will feel good. And then, like I said, the rest of the week's schedule, Thursday we're going to be needle felting Totoro, which I'm very excited about. I'm hoping I'm going to watch Totoro either tonight or tomorrow in anticipation, so I can I'm hoping to sort of find, I know there's you can pull up images obviously on Google and things like that, but I know he has certain moments where he's really excited and his mouth is super wide. So I'm trying to figure out what sort of expression I want him to have. So I sort of want to watch the movie beforehand just so I can kind of really picture in my brain what I want to go for. And then Friday, we have scheduled more of this, but I do think that if we don't end up finishing Totoro in one build on Thursday, we'll probably carry that over into Friday just because I want to be maximizing the number of characters that I output on Thursdays for needle felting. So we'll see. We'll see how much gets done. But either way, I'm very excited about it. And I hope you will come and join me for those streams. If not, we will be back here on Tuesday working on this exact thing. Again, like I said, I'm trying to get as much off-stream done as possible, so hopefully next time you see this we will have a much larger chunk of this complete. Yeah, because I think right now this being fully done, I'm really excited about. It's starting to actually look like something, which is really cool. It's not just a bunch of stitches on a page. So if I can get sort of to the edge of this page, so we did bottom right corner. If we can get bottom left corner done, that would be at least by the end of the week. So I'll try between now and the end of the week to get as much work on this done as possible. And then, oops, that's not where I wanted this to go. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, hopefully. Like I said, if I can get at least one page, well, more than one page done by the end of the month, that's the goal. Because, like I said, I've worked collectively. We've done 2 streams. I've done a few hours off stream and another stream today. So I've done 9, let's say I've done 12 hours so far. Between 12 and 15 hours so far, and I've gotten just shy of, I think I've gone over, maybe I've done a third. Yeah, I think it's safe to say I've done a third of the first page. So yeah, so just doing the maths based on that, there's still quite a bit to go. But if we can get another 3, if I can get another like 6 hours done on this week, I think that would put us in a pretty good position. Don't know, it's not like a particular scene, it's literally just the castle itself. But I'm trying to think of like the orientation. I'll show you the finished photo when it's done. So, yeah. So it's a free pattern by Stitchy Nova. Sorry, this has like the pre-done lines in it, but this is what it's gonna, oops. This is what it's gonna look like. So right now we're sort of working on this section right here. And then, I don't know, depending on what direction we end up going in. But yeah. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. Like this pattern, because I've been looking for a Howl's Moving Castle cross-stitch pattern for a while. And then it just so happened that Stitchy Nova did one for free, which is wild. So if you go to Stitchy Nova's Instagram page, they have a Google Doc in their link tree with like all of their free patterns. I don't know if there's any other Ghibli ones, but there's definitely like other kind of anime ones, other like fantasy ones, things like that. Highly recommend. Where did I put my pen now? There it is. And then my goal with this one when it's done is I want to stick it, I have a like a blue sort of denim button up that I want to stick this on the back of. So far that's the plan. The plan may change, but as of right now, the plan will be to stick this on the back of a shirt. And then I want to add like other Ghibli cross stitch / embroidered things on like the rest of it. final push, guys. Let's try to get these last little pieces done. Woo! Jeez. Yep, I didn't want that. Just threw it on the ground. It's my husband's home today. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really sweet. You've definitely got a keeper there. If he takes good care of your mom, then you know he's a good one. That's amazing. as we can. If anyone has any raid suggestions, let me know. If not, we'll go and check to see which of our friends are online, and we will go and say hello to them. Okay, final push, final push. Artemis Awaken is mine. Ooh! Ooh, what's she playing on The Sims 4? Artemis is one of my absolute all-time favorite names, and I also do love The Sims 4, so that sounds like an excellent idea. Artemis Awakens. Excellent. Let's finish this. Oh, good. I was just saying, I think that's an excellent idea, because I too also like The Sims, and one of my favorite names of all time is Artemis, so that just feels very appropriate to go and say hello to them. Excellent. Oh, excellent. I will send that link to you. It's a very underutilized space, but I'm always happy to add new friends to it. And then if you fill out your introduce yourself section in there, then I can also add you to our map of friendship as well. I put sort of like your general location on a map so we can see where all of our friends are from. It's pretty cool so far. We've got people, little pockets of people all over the place, so there we go. So I've just whispered that to you. Finish filling this in. That's usually, I've gotten a lot better about posting my stream schedule in my Discord. 9 times out of 10, most of the stuff that I post, I do most of my updates over on Instagram, just because that's the social media that I seem to use the most consistently. So that's where everything ends up, and then I usually end up like screenshotting it or copying it over onto Discord. But I'm getting better. then this is where we're going to end. That was the section we wanted to fill in. This sort of goes into our next quadrant. Move that. So this is where we're at so far. Not bad for like 15-ish hours of work done. And like I said, we're gonna try to do more off stream. If we might work on this more on Friday if we're not doing like Totoro needle felting catch up. But yeah, it's been good. This has been a really good day, guys. Really good stream. I think, like I said, especially because I was in a bit of a mental health funk earlier today. It feels really good. I find cross-stitching very therapeutic for me. I find it helps me get out of my head and like focus and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for coming on this, you know, cozy, relaxing cross-stitch journey with me. But yeah, so far so good, eh, guys? Thank you so much. We will see how much more progress we can get. So let's do that, and then let's go find our friend. Honestly, definitely. We've had some really awesome conversations today as well, which I've quite, I don't know, I always like just getting into it, you know what I mean? I like talking about anything and everything, really. I quite enjoy it. I know some days I'm more chatty than others, but I feel like today was a good chat day, which I always enjoy. Okay, let me find... It's only because... Oh. I don't like that now you can't automatically get a link when you go to raid someone else, so I'm gonna queue up Artemis now, and then we'll go and raid out. So there's the raid message. Perfect. Let us go and raid new friend. Artemis Awakens, playing The Sims 4. Awesome, awesome. Wonder what they're working on. I'm excited to go and see what it is. Shall we go and check it out? Again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We will be back here on Thursday, same time, needle felting. And then, you know, if needle felting's not your thing, definitely come back here next Tuesday, because we will be doing more of this, and you can see how much more we've upgraded or updated the print. Okay, see you later. Bye!